Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the WrestlePlug podcast, the WrestlePlug YouTube channel. If you're listening to us, if you're watching it, thank you very much for joining us. I'm Aaron Nix. I'm a professional wrestler, somewhat, training, working, booking, all that good stuff. And I'm joined by my good friend, my best friend from Canada, the Duke of Diabetes, the Maple Leaf Magician, Kyle Wilkinson. Welcome back to the podcast, mate. Are you looking forward to discussing Money in the Bank in all its glory?
Damn right, I am, man. This is the big five now. Money in the Bank has reached that echelon with Survivor Series and SummerSlam, Mania Rumble. It's a staple, and it's always so good.
I believe this is actually one of the few gimmick pay-per-views and few gimmick matches left that still means something, that still entertains and does what it's supposed to do. The other ones have been watered down because they're all supposed to be matches, like Hell in a Cell, for instance. That's supposed to be a match that ends a rivalry. That's supposed to be the pinnacle of pain and aggression and hatred towards each other. And now it's just some bullshit, watered down, clanging and banging, grab ass match in a cell. Whereas this, is still the car crash you expect it to be, and it still helps make stars, as we're about to talk about. However, before the show started properly, pre-show, it's just like every other year of our lives. The Usos take on the Mysterio family for the tag team championships and are successful. They are now 7-time SmackDown, or just in general WWE tag team champions after knocking off the Mysterios. Mysterios had a great entrance. Dominic and Ray, of course, fantastic kind of Maya, Incan kind of Azteca kind of thing going on, which was very cool. Walking into the portal, coming back out at the the new kind of arena. Love the new setup. Love the massive Titantron. It made so many entrances look even more baller than they already were. And this was probably one of the better matches you'd ever see on a pre-show.
Well, I mean, of course it was. Look at the talent involved.
Yeah.
But somehow they were on the pre-show. I get it. There was 7 matches, I think, on the main card, and they were all quite long and for the most part pretty good. But
I think the Raw Tag Title should have been on the pre-show. That was the match I cared about the least entirely.
Yeah.
I think it was good. Like, as far as pre-shows go, it was the least pre-show feel, and that's because we haven't had a pre-show or at least one in front of fans forever. It seems like, and this is, I think, because WrestleMania didn't technically have a pre-show as far as I remember. So this would have been,
so.
Yeah, not the one in front of fans. So this was probably the first time that we'd had. So the crowd were amped up. They were ready, and they were already good to go, which is good. So it was interesting. And the Usos winning tag titles is fantastic. It helps build that rivalry that's going on with Roman Reigns, etc. Obviously, with Jimmy Uso, the stuff that's a bit contentious there is a bit iffy. But overall, great opener, actually. It's a shame that it wasn't opening the show proper. So for anyone who didn't see it, you missed out. Go back and watch it. It was actually fucking good. Tell you what wasn't good. It's going to upset a few people. Opening the show proper was the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, we have a good winner with a terrible gimmick. Aldo Montoya's retarded sister has returned in Nikki Ash, and she captured the Money in the Bank briefcase. That doesn't bother me. I love Nikki Cross. I think she's incredible. I think she's a great worker. I hate the gimmick. Sorry, I do. I'm all for a bit of cartoon, kid-friendly gimmicks from time to time. Bailey is a good example of that. John Cena has been incredibly successful doing that, even though it's not my cup of tea. But I recognise its value, and I recognise their superstar potential, or in fact superstardom. But this match was a clusterfuck. It was not the good kind of car crash that Money in the Bank normally can be. Shock for me to say this. I think this was the worst women's Money in the Bank I've seen since the first one, where a fucking man won it. Everyone remembers James Ellsworth winning on behalf of Carmella, which was a fucking joke. I thought this match was terrible. I thought it was botchy. Lots of fake spots. Hated the Alexa Bliss bullshit on the ladder. I fucking despise Nikki Ash on the top of the ladder, then posing like a superhero while they all kind of stood around like, You would fucking move, okay? I understand to a certain extent suspending your disbelief. This is fucking fake. Okay, and people saying, you can't use that word. Yes, I fucking can, because unlike a lot of people, I actually know what it takes to do this. And I also know how fucking painful it is. And that is insulting, not only to a fan's intelligence, but even more so to someone like me, who is first and foremost a fan, but someone who also trains to be a wrestler, someone who works hard, someone who's performed as a wrestler. And you could say you're a shit wrestler. That's absolutely fine. Doesn't take away from the fact that I've put in the work to get to that point. So seeing someone like Nikki Cross do that, it really pissed me off. And this match was full of botches and moves that didn't come off. The only two people that stood out to me were the two people who should have been in a run-in to win it from the get-go, Naomi and Liv Morgan. I thought they were fantastic. I don't really like Natalya or Tamina, but I will give credit especially to Natalya. She was very good. As I said, she would be the glue that held this together, the kind of veteran of the match. But I thought this match was fucking awful. I honestly thought it was the worst match on the card.
Yeah, there's just a lot wrong with it, and with the talent involved, you expect more. There was a sequence where I think it was, I don't remember who was hanging onto the ladder. Was it Naomi or Alexa, Natalia, and Liv Morgan were hanging onto a ladder for like 5 minutes to let Naomi do a spot.
So dumb.
It wasn't even a tug of war. It was literally they just kind of stood there moving a bit, and I'm like, okay, are you gonna do something? No. And then like 4 minutes later, I forgot I can push Liv into the corner. They're better than this. I think all the women in this match were better than this. The standouts, we were talking about it because we did watch it live together. I don't think Tamina did poorly. I thought she had a few cool spots, I guess, but overall,
Asuka was invisible. What the fuck is that? Asuka did nothing
really.
in this match. She's literally one of the best women's wrestlers of all time. I fucking said it. She's so fucking good. She's so special. She was literally the MVP. I gave her my wrestler of the year last year. I can't even justify getting close to that. She's probably the worst but wrestler of the year this year. She's done nothing. She looks like an afterthought. And I even said during her entrance, if you had never watched wrestling before and you saw her entrance, huge, beautiful, Street Fighter like anime entrance, the colors, the explosion, the festival, the get up, the presentation, she looks like a world class superstar and she can work like one too. And she's a legitimate worker. And if you hadn't watched it before, you would have gone, whoa, this woman right here is a fucking talent. This feels like a megastar on a par with people like Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley, who we're going to discuss a little bit later. And instead, nothing. Lent nothing to this match. There seems to be this obsession with burying her. I'm worried. If this continues, she's likely going to leave. And I tell you what, if AEW don't pick up Asuka, if she walks out, then you are quite literally stupid, because that's one person that everybody should be losing their minds to capture. Wouldn't surprise me if she went back to Japan, much in the same way Kairi Sane did. I'm just fucking disappointed with everything I've seen. Not from Asuka, from the company and the positions they have put her in. She's gone out there and tried her hardest. She's tagged with Lana, for fuck's sake. You know, she's tagged with Naomi and people. Like, nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't make any fucking sense that she's all of a sudden just in these random tag team matches. She's having to put up with this bullshit Alexa Bliss garbage. Alexa Bliss is so fucking beautiful. It beggars belief that someone can be that beautiful. It really does. It's one of those things where you think you're not actually real. You know, it's like that Instagram model thing where you think there must be something going on here that's tweaked. And I'm sure she puts a lot of work into looking as stunning as she does. She's a good worker, but this fucking gimmick sucks now. Without Bray Wyatt, it's even worse. They need to get him back soon. They need to completely disconnect her and get her back to who she was beforehand. I thought she was doing some of her best work when she was with Nikki Cross as a tag team champion, when she was this obnoxious heel against Nia Jax and everything. I really need that back, because this fucking sucks. Hypnotizing Zelina Vega on the ladder, for instance, and making her walk down and then running back. It's fucking stupid. By the way, with the fans back in, without the Thunderdome, not being able now to, shall we say, cinematic it up, you're fucked now. You can't edit your way around this. Either she does cinematic matches or she has to go out there and present herself as somewhat normal. The only trick she's got is that hypnotized thing, and it looks fucking stupid. And anyone who thinks it's good, who's entertained by it, you're a fucking moron. I hate it. I think it's trash, as was this match.
The only thing stupider than that was the finish. I think this was just a big wet fart. I mean, so you have 6 women at the top of the ladder. There's 3 ladders. They're all fighting over it, whatever. Nikki scampers up the ladder and grabs the briefcase over, I think it was Natalya. Not that it really matters.
Natalya, Zelina Vega, and I think Liv Morgan were pretty close. They were all kind of fighting around. And then you had women on the other side as well.
But there's 6 women at the top. And Nikki just fucking... Is she like playing Skyrim? Is her stealth at 100? She just crouched. Everyone lost sight of her. Then she scampered up the ladder. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not upset that Nikki Ash won. I mean, it's not who I thought was going to win, because
Makes
Nick
sense
has been,
with the booking from Raw and everything. She's been
yeah,
undefeated for a while now.
which is fine.
It's actually why we
But
thought she'd lose, because she'd be pushed too hard on. Normally, don't push someone that hard going into it.
exactly. But the finish, just her somehow outworking 6 other women because Alexa Bliss was buried under 17 ladders.
Ah!
Like it made all the other women at the top look dumb. This was definitely a step down from last year's and the year before that, and all the way back to fucking No Chin walking up that ladder. Like, it's sad. Like, I'm disappointed because the talent involved can do better, and yet we got this cheek slapper of a wet fart. Like, it's sad, man.
Yeah, it wasn't like, a complete blowout in the sense of everything was horrible. There were a couple of points where you were like, that's cool. I really enjoyed like the Morgan stuff and Naomi stuff. Naomi was so beautiful and so athletic. And what is that? I told you that woman wasn't going to get pushed. And honestly, at this point, do you know what? It might sound insensitive or just too woke or liberal, and that's not really my thing either. I don't really subscribe to labels, but I honestly think the reason she doesn't get a push is because she's black. I'm sorry, but at this point, there is no other reason to explain it. She's good enough on the microphone. She's incredible in the ring. There is not a single woman who is as athletic as her. There are probably better wrestlers overall, but no one's as athletic as she is. She's absolutely stunning. She's an incredible representative, of her culture and her ethnicity and her background and everything that goes with that. And do you know what? In this day and age, I keep hearing about how WWE wants to push diversity more. Now, people are going to come at me now and say, well, they've got loads of black champions. Yeah, men. And good for them. But God, how long did it fucking take to get to that point? Are we going to have to wait another 30, 40 years before we have proper African-American women's champions more regularly? We already saw how good Naomi was and how over she was years ago when she won the title. I think, 2016? I think she won it at Elimination Chamber. That seems like, and then she won it back again, I think, at WrestleMania 33 in front of her own crowd. And since then, it's like, oh, don't want to touch her again. But the fans really responded to her. She had the biggest pop of this match as well. People lost their shit for her when she came out. It beggars belief. And honestly, if it wasn't for the Raw Women's Championship match, I would have honestly come away from the show thinking, wow, they have done a masterful job of ruining their incredible evolution of women and their incredible women's division. They need to do better. They need to do better quick, because it's got to the point now where even I feel like I don't skip the matches out of respect for the women because I know how special they are, but they're making them into piss break matches again. And speaking of piss break matches, by the way, if you had told me even 6 months to a year ago that a match involving AJ Styles would be the match I cared about least in wrestling on a pay-per-view, I would have slapped you in your face. But here we are, Raw Tag Team Championships on the line. Omos and AJ Styles, of course, successfully defend against the Viking Raiders, who, again, if you told me a year ago the Viking Raiders would suck and I have no interest in them, or that I just, even if they were good, I'm blown away by this, because the match wasn't even that bad, but it was my piss break match. By piss break, I mean I got up and made some sushi, because I thought, okay, well, if there's one match where I'm going to make my sushi, it'll be this match, because I love my sushi, innit? And I need my sushi. This is good for it. It's healthy. It makes me feel strong and a man. Yeah, no, what the fuck? There was a couple of great spots in this. Omos flipping AJ Styles over the top and him hitting the Hurricane Runner on, I believe, Eric. But all in all, just woefully uninteresting, despite being okay. Nothing wrong with it. Omos is getting better. By the way, his scoop slam on Ivar looked amazing. Something as simple as that, looked incredible, and proof that you don't have to do all these crazy stunts to have a great match. But I don't give a shit. That tag team division is awful. It's so bad.
It blows me away. You said all right, but the fact that there's a match with AJ Styles, who is my favorite wrestler of all time ever, and I'm like, yeah, sure, that tossing Hurricane Rana spot was cool.
What's the jobbing thing as well? Why is he the bitch now? Because he's smaller, and they know that Omos can't take bumps or anything. But then they're still clotheslining Omos over the top rope now. So already seeing cracks in his massive invincibility. He's supposed to be unstoppable, and yet the Viking Raiders at some points were kind of launching him around a bit too much. And I thought, right. And the fact that AJ Styles is jobbing out left, right, and center on Raw makes it even less swervy. If AJ Styles is using Omos as a tool to get even more wins and get over even more as a cocky prick, then fine. But they're not doing that. They're making it so Omos, you know, everyone isolates AJ Styles because he's a little bitch, but then Omos gets in and wrecks everybody, and that's the only thing keeping the belt on him. That's not good enough. That's not got enough layers. It's not got enough depth. And if, like me, you are a wrestling fan that actually has a bit of depth to them and wants to see layers, that's not good enough. It's not good enough. And once again, tag titles or a title of some sort that's in the mid card is held hostage for Vince McMahon's big, meaty Hoss man fantasies. So weird, because if you look at the whole racial dynamic, the men are actually doing incredibly fucking well. Incredibly well. There's a lot of great diversity. This is the most diverse and unique set of talents they've ever had on the men's side of things. Just don't seem to want to do it on the women's side. And I know people are going to say Bianca Belair, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. But, you know, come on. Come on, man. It's AJ Styles. How do you fuck up the best wrestler in the world? Vince McMahon has found a way to do that.
Omos should be helping AJ be a world champion.
Yeah, he should be.
AJ should be in the main event. Like, is it cool that AJ got a tag run? He's got the Grand Slam. Sure. Like, fine. That's cool because he deserved it. He's only been in the company 5 years, by the way, like 5.5 years, and he's done just about everything you can do. But now he's in this tag team with Omos, who, to be fair, is growing leaps and bounds. You don't hang out under the tree of AJ Styles and not pick something up every second of every day. You just don't. Yeah, the man's too good.
He's very funny, actually, Omos. He's got quite a bit of humor to him. Like, him and AJ are very funny. They're like little and large dynamic. The whole thing should work really well. And if you left them to their fucking own devices and creativity, I have no doubt it would be fantastic. But you can just see every week some dickhead from creative, along with Vinnie Mac, who's looking more and more malnourished by the day. It's alarming how quickly he's losing all his muscle mass now. And fair enough, he is almost 80, for Christ's sake. Like, you know, you're sitting there and you're thinking, just fucking get out of the way. Get out of the way and let him do whatever. AJ Styles has earned the right in his career now to be given an incredible amount of freedom. Get out of the fucking way and let him do what he does best. Nah, mate. Put him with the giant black guy and, you know, all these novelties and things. And it takes away from that. And also, you're sacrificing your tag team division at the same time. The Street Profits have been going through injuries and stuff, and they're obviously in SmackDown now. I mean, who else got on Raw can you have? You've got the Lucha House Party beating T-Bar and what's his name? Mace and T-Bar. Like, who are, if nothing else, incredible big men athletes, and they're losing to a couple of flippy midgets in masks wearing tinfoil. This tag team division sucks. It sucks. And as much as I give out to AEW for having all these tag team riches and not doing well, at least a real tag team has their tag titles. That always helps. Fuck me.
Couple of fuckboys.
Yeah. I'm grateful for SmackDown and the Usos, you know, and the Mysterios. And the Street Profits are over there as well. All their tag teams are on SmackDown. So they may as well. Do you know what? Go back to having one set of tag titles. That's what you need to do.
Oh, they've even got Alpha Academy if you really want to go that far.
Exactly. And I actually think they're quite good, even though they're building up Otis more as a kind of single destroyer. He's got a real Vader kind of feel about him. And I'm really here for that. Speaking of destructive forces, Bobby Lashley murdered Kofi Kingston to retain his WWE title. And this was the first match where I thought, that is how you are supposed to book. That is how you book a champion. That is how your heavyweight champion should look. Brilliant. Fucking superb. The Dominators, one after the other, were savage. The whole match was just violent. It was aggressive. It was a beatdown. Some people are saying, oh, it took him ages, so he looks weak compared to Lesnar, who he might potentially face, or even Goldberg. God fucking perish the four.
No, please, God, no.
I will actually have a shit on camera if he fucking jobs to Goldberg. I am not putting myself through that again. But this was fucking phenomenal. Credit to Kofi Kingston for going out there, being the trooper that he is, and taking the ass kicking. I know that Nails is big on Kofi Mania. I like Kofi a lot, but ultimately, I also like my big meaty hosses a lot more. And Bobby Lashley is the meatiest of all meaty hoss. And the fact that he destroyed Kofi Kingston is the right decision. And I'm glad that it happened. And at least it was one of those things where Kofi Kingston, you know, he really, really properly murdered him. He didn't just take one F5 and boom, we were done. See you later, like he was with Lesnar. This meant something more. And I think it also helps kind of solidify Bobby Lashley as a more serious champion now, because he has been doing a lot of this dumb stuff with the ladies and the VIP lounge and all that. And that worked for a little bit. And then all of a sudden it got stale because it's Raw and they have to overdo everything. And which is ironic for a show called Raw. And yeah, here we are. But I thought this was actually very well booked. And I really enjoyed watching Bobby Lashley kick 7 shades of shit out of Kofi Kingston. Not because I dislike Kofi Kingston, but because I want my champions, especially if they are the size and the power of Bobby Lashley, they should look fucking dominant at all times. That makes him look far more credible. And he just dispatched one of the most exciting and emotional WWE champions we've had in many a year in Kofi Kingston with relative ease.
Yes, no more champagne for the Almighty. He is
You want the rest of the champagne MVP? No, thank you. And it's pronounced champagne.
Oh God! This was. I knew Kofi wasn't going to win. I think everyone and their mom knew Kofi wasn't going to win.
Anyone with a brain knew Kofi.
I don't think anyone expected him to lose the way he did, but that's what made it more effective.
You know, I thought it was going to be really quick. I thought they were going to put him down like they did Lesnar, and I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah, like. Sure, it took one F5, blah, blah, blah. But this was Lashley asserting himself. This was him showing, he's like, okay, you've pissed me off. No more ladies, no more drinks. I'm going to beat 10 pounds of shit out of you. And those Dominators were especially vicious. The closing Hurt Lock, when he had him down in the full Nelson, but kind of down in like a fucking Steiner recliner position. Like, just to get the way he had his back arched.
Yeah, and he just lifted him over, straight over into this vicious, like, kind of inverted fall away.
Yeah, it was incredible. Kofi, I think, got a single roll-up attempt at the start of the match and then didn't get a damn thing after for 5 minutes. Yeah. It was incredible. This is the Bobby Lashley we've needed since he came back. You know, First, we had the whole sister thing. Let's not talk about that anymore than we have to. Ugh. But now, this is the same kind of stuff he was doing when he was at Impact. When he was just, fucking draped in gold. The best belt collector gimmick I've ever seen. No one else is doing that right now. It was incredible.
Richie Gosh.
And now, oh, by the way, think MVP is still with him. I thought they were going to break up. And I'm like, that would have been really bad because Lashley's
a little bit more of a serious, aggressive MVP is good for him as well. This was also the shortest match of the night. It was still 7 minutes 35, but it was by far and away the shortest match. And yeah, I think it was just about right. If it gone on slightly longer, then I would have got a little annoyed. But it was more a case of Bobby Lashley playing with his food. It was like a predator, wasn't it? Playing with his prey. It was like a tiger batting around a baby seal, really. That's what it felt like. And I enjoy that because as a large meaty hoss and a predator myself, the good kind, by the way, the one that hides in the shadows.
Poor choice of words. Poor choice of words.
Yeah, I know, right? It's terrible. As a predator myself, wait a minute. I'm obviously talking about the one that fights aliens in science fiction fantasy films. By the way, the Predator is the coolest character in all of science fiction. Don't at me.
True.
Yeah, no, I just, as a guy who likes big powerhouses, and I consider myself to be one, I am 6'4", I'm 300 pounds, so I think, good, I want to see fucking meaty horses. I want to see more collisions. I want to see bear country-esque behavior, and I got that. So it was good shit. And the good times continued from this point onwards, really, for the rest of the show. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. We have a new women's champion, a Raw women's champion, which was a bit of a surprise, actually, because we all thought Rhea Ripley's got to get her win here. And normally, I'd be pretty pissed off. Now, the storyline coming into this, especially for the first half of the match, was how shit the fucking fans were. I'm just going to say this. Becky Lynch is one of the most overrated women's wrestlers of all time. I like Becky Lynch. I really do. But she is so fucking overhyped. It's very much that kind of, stone cold kind of cosplay. But yeah, overall, I have to say, once the kind of bullshit had calmed down, we want Becky and trying to be clever and hijack the match as fans do. Fuck me, you've been back one show and you're already trying to be cunts. Come on, do better. You're the reason why wrestling doesn't do what you want to do, because you're so shitty about it. You throw your fucking toys out. Oh, I dropped my ice cream. Wah! Wah! It's that kind of thing. You're a bunch of fucking pathetic basement dwelling Cheeto eating twats. Start masturbating while eating Watsits. Actually have some fucking respect for the people who work in front of you. Actually have some respect for these women, because they blew the fucking doors off. They delivered what I consider a 5-star match. And do you know why? Because Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley equally are world class at what they do. They are two of the best women's wrestlers in the world. And I'll tell you one thing, Becky Lynch is yet to have a match of this quality in her entire fucking career. You can at me all you want, but those are the facts. So cry about it in your fucking basements, because this was world class. And by the end of it, I was absolutely stunned. And because of how good it was, I wasn't as peeved as I thought I might be that Charlotte Flair won. I'm her biggest fan, but I wanted Rhea Ripley to have that big marquee win. She doesn't get that. Which is disappointing. I suppose she got it by beating Asuka at WrestleMania, so that's a good marquee win. So she's got the WrestleMania moment, but it would have meant so much more if Rhea Ripley had done it. However, that's not to say she can't come back later down the line. Can Rhea Ripley get over the hump? Can she beat the one person that has always eluded her in Charlotte Flair? There is time. The problem is fans aren't patient. They're ignorant fucking assholes who think everything should be wrapped up in a week's time, just like that, And that's one thing you kind of have to give AEW credit for. They kind of go the wrong way with it and go too long, but at least they are willing to let things breathe, like the Hangman Page thing. I'd rather that than just wrap it up immediately. That's what fans want. Yeah, let's have Rhea Ripley beat Charlotte Flair, and Charlotte Flair can fuck off. Charlotte Flair has been doing some good jobs. She's been jobbing out to Nikki Ash quite a bit recently. She was jobbing out to Lacey Evans before that. She does the job, and she puts people over when she's asked to do so. But she's also one of the best women's wrestlers in the world. So yes, she should win most of the time. Because if you are that good at what you do, you should win all the time. Muhammad Ali would not be so fucking endearing if he kept getting sparked out every fucking month, would he? George St. Pierre would not be one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time if he got his fucking chops kicked in down Canadian Street every fucking week. All these famous wrestlers, all these people, these icons. You hate Tom Brady. You hate Charlotte Flair. You hated Muhammad Ali, for so long because they were so good at what they did. Michael Schumacher, Michael Jordan, all of them, because they were so good at what they did that you were desperate to see someone else win. And it wasn't because you were bored. It was because you were frustrated because you cannot relate to excellence. That's the idea. Charlotte Flair is not supposed to be fucking likable. You're not supposed to be a fan of hers. You're supposed to hate the fact she wins all the time because she's so much better than you. That's the whole idea. And because she believes it so much and presents herself as that, that makes her a fantastic fucking heel. So, cry about it some more. All you're doing is making sure that she is doing her job even better. The more you cry about it, the more you fucking whinge about Charlotte Flair being over, the more they're going to push her. It's the same with John Cena. Exactly the same thing. Same principle, different kind of character. The reason she keeps getting a push, keeps getting a belt, is because she is so much better than pretty much everybody else around her. And by the way, this match was as much hers as it was Rhea Ripley's. I've seen people, this is the embarrassing thing about wrestling fans. Yeah, well, it's only good because Rhea Ripley carried her. Fuck off. If you think Rhea Ripley carried Charlotte Flair throughout this whole match, you're a fucking retard. You are. There is no other word for it. You must be mentally retarded if you think that. And frankly, I have no time for you because that is embarrassing and you're embarrassing yourself. People are so blinded by their hatred of certain wrestlers that they can't even give them credit when they do something great. For instance, I think Becky Lynch is massively overrated, but she can still work. She's a great worker. She's a decent promo, even though she sounds like a retarded leprechaun at times. But at the same time, she can still do great things, like I say, and I can still recognize that, even though she's not my cup of tea. It's a difference between outright hating someone and just not enjoying who they are, but still being able to recognize that they're talented. Case in point, Kenny Omega. I think he's hugely overrated, but there is no denying that he looks fantastic and he can work fantastically well. Just certainly not my cup of tea, and he's a shit promo. So, it is what it is. Any thoughts to this? I've gone on a little diatribe, but what did you think of the match? Because I honestly thought it was spectacular. Another one of the best women's matches of the ages, and what a surprise, it's got Charlotte Flair in it again. I'm struggling to think of an incredible women's match in the last 3 or 4 years that didn't have her in it, at least on the main roster.
Well, I mean, at the time, I wasn't necessarily upset. I was just more disappointed because I was thoroughly in this is when Rhea gets her win back. This is when she finally overcomes that obstacle at Charlotte Flair. But when you think back on it, The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestled, at WrestleMania 3 times. It took The Rock 3 times to get over Austin, 3 times in 6 years. And that match at Mania 19 was fucking awesome. So this could be a long-term storytelling plot device. Or on the other hand, Vince could have just given up on Rhea Ripley already, which is possible.
Fans
and incredibly sad.
You were live tweeting it with me. I saw lots of people because obviously, you know, full disclosure, I'm sitting there, I'm sort of downloading GIFs and things for this video to kind of make it pop a little bit. So you got some reference points while we're talking. And, you know, I had the Money in the Bank hashtag up. I saw loads of people saying, can we just, you know, get over the Rhea Ripley experiment now? It hasn't worked. So I don't think that's actually true. Personally, I just think fans are really impatient. But I'm amazed at how many people have already jumped off the bandwagon because I think she's incredible. I think she could lead to this company for the next 20 years.
She's only 24, 25 years old. She hasn't even hit her peak yet.
Huh. Most wrestlers don't. Believe it or not, most wrestlers don't hit their prime until they sort of get towards their 40s. They don't.
Yeah, like probably early, late 30s.
Like Randy Orton's doing some of his best work now and he's in his 40s, right? Bobby Lashley, probably the best he's ever been. 45, 46.
AJ Styles is 47.
Fucking hell. Edge.
Rey Mysterio is like 47.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys are hitting their peak late 30s, early 40s. Drew McIntyre has been in this game quite a long time. He's only just really hitting his stride as one of the best wrestlers in the world, or at least, you know, with the run and everything, although I can do without another fucking lecture on Scottish history, for the love of Christ. If I was Scottish at this point, I'd be throwing cans of Iron Brew at him. Yeah, no, I thought this was amazing. I thought this was 5 stars. I thought it was incredible. I thought the one thing you could point to maybe as a slight mishap is when they almost botched the power suplex thing where she kind of flipped her back out and caught her in the sort of, and she still, I saw people slagging this off. Fuck you. You have no idea what kind of strength and power it takes to pick up what I assume is a 150 to 200 pound woman and lift her like that and vertically suplex her out of that completely from a deadlift position. You have no idea what that takes as an individual. We're not talking about just picking up a weight bar. We're talking about a human being, you know, and having to completely use your raw power to overcome that. You know, a specimen like Charlotte Flair, who is stacked, by the way, heaving with the muscle. You know, people are just so stupid and so fickle. And the problem with wrestling is that every single 2-bit wanker thinks they can do it. And pretty much every single 2-bit wanker can't take a bump to save their fucking life or wouldn't dare to take a bump because they'd end up crying back to their mum's basement. That's just the reality of it. I thought this match was incredible. If you didn't like it, that's fine. But ultimately, you're fucking wrong.
Yeah, at least we had one saving grace for the women tonight.
They rescued the women's division with this incredible performance. Oh, by the way, they actually managed to turn the fan. When was the last time you could say the women had the fans against them at the beginning of a match and were able to turn it? They went from "We want Becky" to "This is awesome" in 8 minutes. Do you realize how incredible that alone sounds? Stunning. Absolutely stunning. Anyone who's got negative things to say about this match after everything those women did out there knows nothing about wrestling and has no respect for the incredible work that goes into being a women's wrestler. These are 2 of the best women's wrestlers in the world. Shut up and be thankful you get to watch such greatness. Otherwise, you can just turn over and watch the shitty ballet on the other channel on Sky Arts or whatever you fucking do in your spare time, because I have no time for you. Unreal, mate. Unreal.
Well, speaking of great things we got to watch.
Oh, my Lord. It's time for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Sorry, my phone just went off. This was so sexy. And before we even had a chance to get going with this, I hate Boogs. I hate Nakamura.
He's great.
Boogs sucks. You're wrong. I hate him. He's shit. He's annoying as fuck. If he was a heel, I'd be like, fair enough, because you're annoying the piss out of me. No questioning that he's a good guitarist. But, you know, Riddle gets him to sing. Riddle is kind of shamefully somewhat entertaining to me at this point.
Guilty pleasure.
You know, they're doing the Randy Orton thing as like a tribute. Don't know if Randy Orton's ill or whatever, or injured for whatever reason. He doesn't seem to have been around for a little while now. Probably good, actually. I feel like he was just starting to get oversaturated, although I was really enjoying RK Bro. I assume he's going to come back and attack Riddle, and that'll be it. But the highlight of that entire segment was Kevin Owens looking at him and I'm like, I hate you. so much, all of you. And then I love the continuity, by the way, of them all then, one after the other, coming through the curtain and making their entrance. They could have been stupid there and just thrown any random out. And no, it was them, back to back to back. And I thought that was excellent. And my God, this match was fucking amazing. It had everything you wanted. All the spots were done well. It had car crash spots. Shout out to John Morrison, Seth Rollins, and Ricochet. The tag team drip of Seth Rollins and John Morrison was magical. Ricochet was insane with some of his crazy spots. Drew McIntyre added that great kind of car crash. He was like the stop sign that you crashed into. Like, Claymore, stop your shit now. He was like the grown dad who walked into the nursery and started batting kids around until they behaved themselves. Pardon the analogy. And, you know, Kevin Owens was just hilarious, professional, phenomenal as he always is. I wanted him so, and then he almost died when he went through the ladder, and some of the spots were crazy. I still can't get over how much I popped my tits off for Ricochet bouncing, springboarding while the ladder was falling, and then doing a fucking swanton style, like out to the outside onto God. Oh, it's crazy. It beggars belief. It was a stunning match. It really was. And some would say the right guy won. For all the talk of African Americans, the men are doing very well, and we even have an African American Money in the Bank holder in Big E, who is the perfect choice. And he was the guy that you picked to win this. I picked Kevin Owens, you picked Big E. I was stubborn, but here we are. Big E is now Money in the Bank, the Money in the Bank holder. What did you think overall in the match, and also the fact that Big E is now going to hopefully cash in to become a world champion later down the line, which is what some people have wanted all along?
I'm so excited for Big E, man. Since they split him up for the New Day in the draft, we knew, or we hoped, that they had big plans for him, because you don't just split apart the New Day. And it took a while, but after hitting a top of the ladder big ending on Seth Rollins, which looked fucking sick and incredibly painful, by the way, because I think he landed like right on his shoulder, but he's got so much shoulder, didn't even matter. He is swole. He is a big lad.
Boy, he is hench. He makes me look tiny.
Christ. But that was incredible. Yeah, Kevin Owens taking that powerbomb through the ladder. Sad. Broke my heart, as well as possibly his neck. I'm not sure, because that was a rough landing.
His cheap shot on Ricochet was one of my favorite things in the match. Ricochet, yeah. So we had the meaty Hoss collision between Drew and Big E, which was so sexy. I literally came in my pants. Full disclosure, I had an erection for pretty much the entire length of this match, because it was just stunning. I don't care if that offends you. Don't at me. Don't talk to me about my erections. Those are my erections. It was so good. But like during the face-off, Ricochet tries to get involved, and they just fucking discard him like a pile of shit. Like a used tampon flying in the night. He went straight over the top rope. And as he fucking lands, Kevin Owens goes, ooh, slaps his head in, and then proceeds to chill out and watch the big meaty hosses twat each other while waiting for his spot. Like some arrogant shit. I love him so much. He is truly one of the best wrestlers of the modern era. He is one of the best wrestlers in the world. Kevin Owens may go down as the most underrated wrestler of all time. He is so special, and I don't think we are understanding and worthy enough of the gift of Kevin Owens. But this match was fucking great. I'm trying to wrap my brains as to something I didn't like. The only thing I will say is Nakamura did fuck all in this match, other than a very cool little sequence with Riddle, with that incredible counter to the roundhouse kick, which was very special. Other than that, I think Nakamura added zero to this match. In fact, it shouldn't be Nakamura in it. It should have been King Corbin, and they should have had Cesaro in as well. Or in fact, just not bother with Nakamura, Corbin, or whatever, and put Cesaro in that position instead, and he would have added more to this match. But even someone like Seth Rollins was fucking phenomenal, and his little meltdown later on after that as well. It just worked so well. And to think this was the match before the main event, like I honestly, it was actually in the right position. Normally I have a match like this and I'm too hyped and I'm like, okay, I haven't got anything left. And instead it left me buzzing for the main event, and I was able to carry that over, you know, watching it with yourself and Cam. And it was just awesome. It was fucking incredible. This is one of my favorite all-time Money in the Bank ladder matches, if not my favorite match that they've ever done. I thought a couple of years ago with I Finn Balor dying at the hands of Andrade, being pinged off the ladder and stuff, and the one where Mustafa Ali almost won it, and then Lesnar came out. That was one of my favorites of all time. I think this one surpassed it. I thought this was fucking amazing.
Yeah, I would definitely. I'd like to give Riddle some credit here. I know you're not his biggest fan, even though he's kind of working you a little bit, but his RKOs are slick. He hit some good RKOs tonight.
Athlete. Incredible athlete. That was my critique of him. The funny thing is, actually, when he was like stoner bro and all that, he was fucking shit. But now he's kind of got into full idiot mode. He's actually very entertaining and funny, and brings a kind of, he takes away from this serious nature that we have in wrestling, and he kind of brings a little bit more humor and a little bit more lightheartedness to the product. So, yeah, I appreciate him from that perspective. And he did, I think everyone other than Nakamura for me added something really good to this match. And John Morrison was the MVP for the first 5 to 10 minutes. And then, Big E and Kevin Owens and those guys kind of carried it through to the end. And everyone felt like I say, other than Nakamura, sorry, I know I'm not his biggest fan anyway. I thought New Japan Nakamura was amazing. This Nakamura is just a knacker, simple as that. But I thought everyone other than him was fantastic and really made this match absolutely beautiful. It was great. Everyone added something different and unique. And yeah, do you know what? I can't wait to go and watch it back again and enjoy it later down the line. Such a great match. And Big E winning is fantastic. I have no doubt that at some point he's going to be the next big thing. Wouldn't surprise me if he's the one who dethrones the winner of our main event later down the line, because the winner of our main event is going to be very busy, it looks. Roman Reigns defends his Universal Championship successfully against Edge, who put in one hell of a fight. 33 minutes of pure masterclass storytelling. There can be no more complaining about Roman Reigns not being a good wrestler ever again. He may be working with ring generals, guys like Edge and Daniel Bryan and things of that nature, which obviously is, and Kevin Owens, who was incredible in his rivalry with him, who are going to help elevate him. What I love is every time Roman Reigns wrestles these guys, he learns something, he moves on to the next rivalry, and he's better, and he's cleaner, and he's crisper. He's become one of the best in-ring talkers. Cameron was in a party with us, and he was talking about, during his massive, massive erection-worthy diatribes about how much he's in love with Roman Reigns. He did bring up some really good points, especially about how confident he is, his facial expressions, his cadence, his deliverance, his candid nature, the way he talks to the audience when he's got something as simple as a headlock in. He makes everything feel important now. Roman Reigns is beautiful, obviously. He's very, very handsome. I know Nails in particular is a big fan of Roman Reigns, and to be honest, we all are. We all wish we could look that good. I personally think Edge is slightly better looking and very, very handsome for his age. I think Edge is genuinely one of the hottest men alive. I think he's gorgeous. I think he's one of the greatest wrestlers to ever live at this point. I actually would say, very controversially, I think Edge might actually break into my Mount Rushmore of wrestlers because he's that good. And this run, for me, is cementing it. Do you know what this run reminds me of? But just, he's obviously not as much of a cunt. He reminds me when Shawn Michaels came back in 2002 and had that incredible run for about 7 or 8 years, just putting together world-class matches and going out there and being the wrestler we all knew he already was, but without a lot of the excess nonsense. Edge is picking his spots more and his promo work, and he's gone to NXT and put over Pete Dunne, and he's been working with all these great people. I thought his rivalry with Randy Orton was great, and I thought his fucking stuff with Roman Reigns has been gold, and the WrestleMania main event and him and Daniel Bryan, and he has been flawless since he came back, as far as I'm concerned. Edge is magical. Every time his music hits, I have to stop myself breaking into tears because I get overhauled by all the emotion of his entrance. I love him dearly. I really do. He is so influential to me, and he's proof to someone like me who's in their mid-30s that you can go on to your mid-40s and later and look fucking incredible and work at an incredibly high rate if you have the grit, the determination, and the work ethic. And now that is what I'm trying to apply to everything I do so that I can not be like Edge, but kind of harness that energy and that magic that he brings to the wrestling world. He's reminded me that wrestling still has a lot more magic to give. Him and Roman Reigns put on a masterclass. Again, people moaning about it being too slow. Fuck off. You people bore me. It's boring, is what it is. Oh, it's too slow. You need to fast forward this match. No, it's because not everything needs to be a fucking 30-minute super kick fest. It doesn't need to be a fucking flippy do magical match. And after having that Money in the Bank match, if they'd gone out there and gone a million miles an hour, people would have been like, yeah, it's all right, but they did all that stuff in the match before. They gave us something entirely different. They cleansed the palate and they gave us a world-class storytelling match, just like Roman did against Cesaro, just like he did against Kevin Owens, just like he did against Daniel Bryan, against Edge, everybody. He is now officially one of the biggest stars in the world. And I agree with Cam when he says that when it's all said and done, he's probably going to surpass The Rock. And rightfully so. I think when it's all said and done, he'll be the greatest Samoan wrestler to ever live. I really believe that. He has been masterful. And this match was fucking masterful. And it was worthy of any main event anywhere in the world. I think he's the best world champion of any company in the world right now. And I actually quite like a few of the world champions poking around, particularly Nick Aldis, who I think is incredible, who, by the way, 1,000 days as world champion. Amazing. But yeah, special, absolutely special. What more do you want me to say about it? Until obviously that lime green lunatic turned up.
I popped my tits off for that. I shouldn't have, but like I knew it was coming because it's been reported forever. But yes, John Cena shows up, and initially that Texas crowd lost their fucking mind.
Biggest pop I've ever seen having fucking 15 years.
It brings you back to the Royal Rumble 2008. John Cena comes out at number 30, and everyone's losing their mind for about 15 seconds, and then they go, wait a minute, that's John Cena. We hate that guy.
Fuck
and
that
then
guy.
it flips on its head immediately, and that's pretty much what happened here. There was no physical altercation, there was no words exchanged, but Cena just kept looking at Reigns, looking at the belt, hit him with the "you can't see me, do do do," and looked like that's our SummerSlam main event, ladies and gentlemen, and a win over John Cena, because it's going to happen. I mean, there's no way, right?
He has to. Now, as long as he beats John Cena, I've got no problem with it. I don't like John Cena. I have never liked John Cena. I enjoyed Rafa Cena for a little while. I even enjoyed him as a face. Then the problem with John Cena was never that he wasn't good. The fact was that he's just the same person over and over. There was no layers. There was no depth to it. And his promos are so carny American and just a little bit cheesy.
Well, the ones he had,
there's no denying the fact that he is, without a shadow of a doubt, a huge box office draw, and even more so now. Suicide Squad is just coming out, or it's just come out.
And Fast 9.
Yeah, like, that's crazy. Fast 9 as well, like you say. He is a huge movie star right now. He's starting to get that big fucking jump like The Rock did. He's going to get there soon. He's going to be, you could just see him and The Rock bumping into each other long term, can't you? Just going off back and forth again and renewing nonsense in films and that. And I think even there's the potential of that in DC, isn't there? With because I think The Rock's going to play Black Adam.
Yeah, he is.
Which I'm furious about, because it should have been an Egyptian man. I'm just saying. As a Middle Eastern individual, I would have liked to have seen a man of Middle Eastern heritage. However, I will say that The Rock looks perfect for the role. But I just thought, me being woke for once in my life instead of being a horrible human being, I would have liked to have seen representation from my own class, because he is probably one of the only real Middle Eastern characters in all of comic book lore. But yeah, there is no denying the mega money matchup that this affords them. This is going to be huge. But please don't put the bet on John Cena. I don't think they will anyway. I don't think John Cena's in it for the long haul. I think he's come back to help elevate Roman Reigns even more. I think that, Roman Reigns beating him at SummerSlam and then building to the potential, of someone like Big E cashing in on him, possibly after the match, you don't know, could end up making SummerSlam quite special. I think it would be very interesting to see, actually, Roman Reigns maybe overcomes John Cena, thanks to the Usos, who tried to interfere in this match, and then the Mysterios came down and helped out. I think my perfect scenario is great match between him and Cena. He overcomes Cena. The Usos kind of, cause enough distraction, attack, John Cena to get this done. And then he just berates them. What took you so long? And they finally snap and start assaulting him, beating the shit out of him, taking advantage of the fact that he's weakened as well from an incredible match with John Cena. And then Big E cashes in thanks to the, excess beatdown and the exhaustion of the match. And yeah, we get what we actually wanted. Carl Wilkinson, take over for a minute because there is a spider about this big in my room, and I am genuinely fucking terrified, but it has to be eliminated. So crack on, mate, and tell us what you think about John Cena returning while I go full fucking fire mode and burn down my front room.
Yeah, you go all Liquid Snake on or something.
I'm here, you!
But, I mean, come on, guys. John Cena he's a huge star. It'll help solidify Roman's reign. If Roman's reign.
It's fucking massive.
It's gonna be a hell of a match. I know a bunch of people don't like John Cena, blah 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 blah, but he's an established name.
And he's stupid, and he needs to grow up and dress for his own age.
Never. Did you see that disgusting haircut he has? Fucking long on the top, short on the sides.
Like JBL on steroids.
Is it JBL? Just JBL on steroids?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. But hey, he's got to hit that stupid Jackie Chan punch from the movie he did. I need to see that. That's how he's going to beat Roman Reigns. Oh my god. But I want to go back to the match itself for a second because Edge is.
Yeah.
Oh, I was so upset when he lost. But Edge is one of the best to ever do it. Top 3 best Canadians to ever do it. And I've seen a lot of Canadians wrestle. And my heart knew he wouldn't win, but I really wanted it. So, man, when he got the visual tap out after the ref bump, he got a visual tap out, he got a visual pinfall. Still didn't matter. Reigns won in the end. And I was very sad about it. But, yeah, you okay? You okay there, brother?
Fucking hate him. Fucking terrifying me, but I got him. Yeah, I've been after him for like 2 days. The game of cat and mouse has been completed for now. Full disclosure, I live in a country, so I get literally like hand-sized spiders charging around my house every now and then. It fucking disgusts me.
You got it, dude. I believed in you.
The shakes, mate. Ugh. There, I can now. I've got wrestling training in 3.5, 4 hours, and I haven't slept yet. But yeah, John Cena. Good job, by the way, holding down the fort. That'll be something to tell the podcast. For those of you who are actually listening, you won't have really noticed anything different. But for those of you seeing, I apologise for me disappearing from the camera for a moment to deal with the spawn of Satan. Yeah, no, I don't hate it. I don't like John Cena that much. I haven't for a long time, but I can tolerate him now because he's not forced down my throat every 5 minutes. And I have no question. Again, like I was saying earlier, I can still recognise his worth and his value, and I recognise he is a mega star, and especially with the film backing and that brings in a lot of a casual audience. Brilliant stuff. I just hope that they line up the right opponent for Bobby Lashley, and they don't just go for the cheap shot of Goldberg on Raw tomorrow night. I'm dreading it. Bobby Lashley comes out. I am dominant. Nobody can beat me. I am almighty. Can't wait for the 1.5 minute spectacular they have at SummerSlam before Oldberg gets gassed and looks like an Attack from the Killer Tomatoes advert. Yeah, no, great stuff. And a great ending to what was actually, when it was all said and done, a pretty good pay-per-view. I was worried when they started off the way they did, and then they had that kind of tag team match, which was good, but I didn't care about. What are your overriding thoughts before we get into our listener interactions?
For the first show in front of a crowd, it was definitely incredible. Well, first it's Mania, you guys know what I mean. Fuck off.
Yeah.
But it did start off poorly, and then it was boring, and then it got good, and then better, and then ended with a masterclass in storytelling. And now we've set up our main event for SummerSlam. Roman Reigns will have been champion for a full calendar year by then, just to throw that out there, which is almost unheard of. You know, Punk did it, 10 years ago. I can't think of anyone that's really held the title that long since. Not that it really matters, but now, I don't know, man. I'm excited to watch Raw tomorrow, which is not something I ever thought I would say, but I'm hoping that having the crowd there will make it better. And then Goldberg's going to come out, and then you'll see my obituary.
Well, Bobby, you want to know who's next, eh? Retirement homes next. Yeah, you know what? Because of the women's match, the men's Money in the Bank, and Roman Reigns versus Edge were all veritable 5-star classics. They were all matches for the ages. Those are 3 match of the year contenders right there that can all go on my list. I always keep a list. You know me, I'm a sad bastard like that. And I write down my list for end of year awards. I have a feeling I'm going to be revisiting this time the way they're going. Although, is anyone going to be able to knock off Josh Alexander versus TJP? It's a tough one. But I love this. I thought this was an excellent pay-per-view. I've got to be honest, at times I was reminded why I hate the crowd so much. Why I hate fans.
Fucking chants.
Some of the chants, we want Becky and we want tables. I get you having fun. And as a football fan, I probably chant some stupid shit quite a lot of the time as well, especially at Lincoln City games where I was stressed out all the time. But overall, though, it was nice to see that they came around on the women's match and showed it the love it deserved. And that shows you how special the women are. But I think those 3 matches were spectacular. I thought the pre-show match was actually fucking brilliant. It's a damn shame it wasn't on the main show. And yeah, I got to say, the WWE title match, although not a worldie, was booked beautifully. So there was a lot to get into that I really enjoyed. And overall, I thought it was very positive. I would give it 7 Ginders and a Bollywood boy out of 10. What say you, Mr. Wilkinson?
I'd probably give it 8 Ginders because we forgot to mention Jinder came out and beat up Drew McIntyre.
The best part of the pay-per-view. How could I not mention this? So Jinder and his boys beat up and abducted Drew McIntyre. Find out on Raw this week what happens next. I like the fact they're going to be in a long-term rivalry. Mate, can we please just rehire Heath Slater so we can have our 3MB triple threat just once? Just once. That's all I'm asking for.
Trios titles, dude. WWE gets some trios titles. 3MB. Let's go.
Oh my God, I'd lose my shit. Can you imagine the New Day versus 3MB as the main event of WrestleMania? Oh, give me what I want. Yeah, mission accomplished. Pretty fucking awesome, to be fair. Now, our fans, or friends, should I say, because you are our friends, Nails, at Nails and NY. What a glorious, wonderful human being she is. Thank you so much for always supporting my YouTube endeavors and always leaving comments and watching when you don't even like the WWE product that much. I admire and respect that. Simply put, she kept it nice and short and sweet, which I appreciate no end. She said the women were phenomenal. Edge is the greatest of all time. I agree. We all want to marry Roman and Kofi Mania forever. And I'm mad Peacock messed up KO's entrance. I will DM this too. I'm that hyped about Cena, by the way. LOL. Hashtag get plugged in. Thank you very much for using our hashtag. Not many people bother to use it, to be fair. Yeah, I'm not as hyped for Cena. I know that you're quite a big mark for Cena, and that's fine. And I'm really pleased for you guys that you can enjoy it more. Good for him for going out and creating a world outside of wrestling and a life outside of wrestling for himself. I always love that. Even if I'm not a big fan of the wrestler, I love to see them have a healthy and flourished life outside of wrestling, because it can be very hard to transition to the real world after that for a lot of guys. And these guys obviously have proven that wrestling is not the be all and end all, and nor should it be. And also, Kofi Mania might be forever, but you'll be lucky if he can stand for a few weeks after that beatdown. Just saying. Oh, by the way, Peacock...
He better not be on Raw.
Apparently, Peacock messed up quite a lot of the Money in the Bank match. A lot of people said that they couldn't even watch it because it was just so shitty. Choke Goat Gaming actually contacted us. May as well get into what he said, at Choked Goat. He said, missed the men's Money in the Bank match because of the streaming issues. Still stoked for E winning. Dude was the nicest one back in the FCW days because he used to go to those shows because he's Florida-based. Nice. I can imagine him being very cool, actually, a very cool guy. And shout out to Choke Goat for keeping me accountable on the workouts. There is very slowly, you probably can't see it, but there's a little bit of muscle mass there. So I'm working hard and we'll see how we do. Main event built perfectly. Love the Ripley Flair match and how Ripley has a wall that she can't climb. And that's exactly what I mentioned. I think this is building to something long-term where we see, hopefully, Rhea Ripley overcome that. Maybe at WrestleMania. Because that would kind of bring it all full circle. 2 years on, WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Like, you've never beaten me. You can't beat me. I think that would be the best place for her to overcome it in a full stadium. I think that would be pretty awesome. Especially as I believe, is it in Dallas next year or is it in Hollywood?
I think it's in Dallas. I think it's in Dallas because we were talking about going next year.
Yeah, that would be fucking wild, wouldn't it? I'm gonna have to start a Corbin fund me so I can get to WrestleMania this year. Someone called at Mike Burmy, obviously not a huge fan of wrestling, judging from this random thing. He said, my thoughts are this. Tomorrow, Charlotte's probably going to say, we've barely dug this up from the ground. You can't slay the dragon on the 470th night. Otherwise, there's just an average length story to be told. And this time next year, we're going to see the graphic Demi Bennett is all elite. Who's Demi Bennett? Help me out.
I have no fucking idea.
On the fucking Google, goddammit. No clue what he's on about, if I'm being honest. But thanks for interacting nonetheless. Tell you what I'll do, I'll have a look for Demi Bennett right now. What do you think about the whole Charlotte thing? Are you hoping it's going to be long term?
I hope so, man, because like I said, Charlotte's a 14-time champion now. That's whatever, that's fine. But she's a heel. Nikki Ash is a face. Maybe something could happen there. I thought a cash-in was going to happen tonight, but instead, our big surprise was Fruity Pebbles. So...
Oh, Rhea Ripley is Debbie Bennett.
Oh, is that her indie name?
That's her real name. Yeah, I'm not some fucking smart who reads the dirt sheets. I don't know a lot of the wrestlers' real names. I just watch it for what it is. So, but apparently, Demi Bennett is Rhea Ripley. So.
Yeah, all right. Well, yeah, I have no fucking idea.
No clue, but it is what it is. Guess who came to the party finally? Jay Miller has dropped in his opinions.
I thought he was dead. I thought he was dead, honestly.
Well, it takes a long time to make balsamic Brussels sprouts, doesn't it? This pay-per-view was amazing. So hyped. The bloodline is dripping in gold. What I'm seeing for SummerSlam is Rollins versus Edge, Reigns versus Cena, and E versus Lashley. Big E moving to Raw, maybe to reconnect. Yeah, that would actually make very good storytelling sense, wouldn't it? If he kind of came to the rescue of his brothers in the New Day because he was sick and tired of them getting the shite kicked out of him and demolished every week. So yeah, I quite like that idea. We didn't mention the fact that Seth Rollins also interfered, didn't he, in the main event and helped cost Edge, and then Edge and him were brawling like crazy. Should be a great wrestling match, if nothing else from those two. Mm-hmm. Looking forward to that. So that should be quite cool as well. He also says, I'm not happy about Rhea losing the title, but I get it. Nikki winning Money in the Bank makes no sense to me unless they make her be the first woman to fail to cash in. Oh, God. They probably could do that, actually. Edge and Reigns was an instant classic and was so much better with a crowd. Match of the year, in my opinion, in any company. I mean, there's definitely an argument for that. I don't think anything you said there is massive hyperbole. And I agree with a lot of it. Nice to actually fucking hear from you, you lazy little melt. It's been about 20 years since you fucking last rocked up. Shout out to Rated R Wrestling, by the way, for always retweeting our stuff, even though they've got their own YouTube show and trying to get themselves over. They've always got time to retweet us, and I appreciate that as well. Just noticed you retweeted our latest interview, which you can also check out, by the way, on our YouTube channel. I spoke to the Priestess of Darkness, Vicky Noctum. She's beautiful, she's dangerous, she's deadly, and she's going to be one of the biggest stars in Scandinavian wrestling, and I highly recommend you check it out. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything else you want to add, Carl Wilkinson?
No, just it's always a pleasure to watch the wrestling with you. It was even nicer to have a fucking crowd there to finally have some reactions, because that was one of the biggest deterrents during the Thunderdome era. But it was a good show, a damn good show, and I'm fucking hyped for the biggest party of the summer.
I've got to be honest, this feels like it could be one of the biggest SummerSlams ever, or at least in recent memory, and I'm hyped for it, like you say. It's weird, actually. Whenever I talk about SummerSlam or watch SummerSlam, there always seems to be a giant spider in the house, which, of course, would make sense because summer, innit? So my apologies for disappearing while I deal with the menace that is eight-legged Eve. Do you do this thing where you get paranoid, where you found a big spider, did you kill it, and then you spend the rest of the evening going, where are the rest of them? They're all going to attack while I'm in my sleep. Luckily for me, I can't sleep because I've got to edit this shit. It's 6:18 in the morning. Then I've got to get a train at 9:30 to Brighton. Oh, dear God. Why do I do this to myself? And I'm going to be wrestling fuckboy Cam Anderson. Should be a good time. I'm absolutely determined to be in the best shape possible and the best I've ever been for when wrestling returns. For us, happy Freedom Day, by the way, to everyone in the UK. Everything is now open. There are no laws or massive obligations to wear masks and things of that nature, but obviously try and be sensible, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be stupid. Don't fucking cluster around like quail. Don't cluster around like a bunch of AEW wrestlers who don't have a fucking clue what they're doing. Ha ha! Sorry, Nels. And yeah, just in general, just be fucking safe. From myself, Aaron X, I'm from Carl Wilkinson. Thank you very much for watching or listening, depending on where you are in the world and what device you're using. Don't forget all of our major podcasts. If they've got a number, you can listen to them. You don't have to watch our ugly mugs on YouTube, but we thank you for giving us a bit of traction on YouTube nonetheless. We're getting actually very close now. I think we've got 378, 379 subscribers, getting close to that 400 mark, which means giveaway time and also extra love. We'll probably do a live giveaway a WWE Elite figure or something like that. So please tell your friends. We may not be the best wrestling podcast that I've enjoyed, but we're definitely the most honest and we're the most candid and we are the most uncensored. We're not going to fucking curtail or bow down to Mark Zuckerberg's nonsense because that guy is a fucking twat. Simple as that, really. And one of these days, I swear to God, Zuckerberg, I'm going to curl up this meaty bastard and I'm going to lariat your face in. You fucking neo-Nazi supporting wanker. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. And we'll catch you very soon for more content from the WrestlePlug. Time for the salute.
It's even more apt now.
Fuck you, Cena.
Do, 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 do.
Cue the klaxon.